Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sports Show, episode 3. I'm your co-host Alex.
And I am Anthony.
And it's been a week since we last recorded. I was sick for a couple days, so apologies for that. Before we begin, this is a Lavos production, so please remember to follow Lavos on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel where these will be placed. It will help us a lot that we have your support. That way we can continue on with not just these podcasts, but the news that are posted on Lavos. So make sure to follow them, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and then subscribe to the YouTube channel. So, Anthony, you want to go over what we're going to talk about for this episode?
We got a lot to talk about today. We got a lot of different NFL topics to discuss through the draft. And we also got a lot of NBA topics to discuss. There's been a lot of series that have been going on that we'd like to talk about.
So, we're going to talk about the NFL first. Then we're going to move on to the NBA. And if we have time in the end, we'll throw in a little Would You Rather game. So, there has been a lot in the NFL. Obviously, after episode 2 ended, just hours later, the NFL draft started. And there were some questionable picks, but there were also some picks that were quite expected. You want to go over that?
Yeah, so, I'll just go over a couple of my draft day winners and losers. I think one of the winners in this draft class was the Bears. They got Caleb Williams, to be expected. Great pick, best quarterback on the board, in my opinion. And Rome Odunze fell to him at 9, and I thought that was
a pretty good pick. I like that one.
Yeah. So you're pairing a great offense around Caleb with 3 amazing receivers. You have Rome to learn under Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. You have a very solid tight end. You got DeAndre Swift in free agency. And you have a pretty good offensive line. So I think that was a great filling of that offensive roster. And
Great draft in general by Ryan Poles and the rest of the Bears front office.
100%.
It was, last year was pretty much like a peak of what could happen this year. And I could see the Bears winning probably 10 games this year with a playoff appearance.
Yep. Another winner I had was the Pittsburgh Steelers. I thought they had a really, really good draft. They got Troy Fautanu in the first round. He was a really good offensive tackle out of Washington who fell in the draft because of injury concerns. They also got another offensive lineman in Zach Frazier in the second round. And they got some weapons for Justin Fields or Russell Wilson, whoever is starting, with Roman Wilson. And one of the really steals of the draft is Peyton Wilson, linebacker out of NC State. He, I would say, was the best linebacker. A lot of consensus would say he was one of the best linebackers in the draft. And he fell because of some knee issues as well as a shoulder issue. So if he's healthy, that could be a really good pickup.
I do like how Pittsburgh took multiple offensive linemen. Obviously, that position has been a problem for the team for a couple of years now, and they just couldn't seem to fix it. It was last good in like 2020, and then ever since it's been really bad. So hopefully these 2 picks are hopefully long-time starters, and they're actually good because Steelers have not been able to find protection for their QB for the past couple of years.
Yeah, and you got to protect whoever's back there. Russell Wilson's not getting any younger, and Justin Fields
has already had some bad offensive line luck in his career already, so you want to at least give him some protection if he is going to have to take over for Russ early on in the season.
Yeah, and he's not his in previous seasons, I don't think he's had a full season where he's started every game for health reasons, for whatever reasons maybe, but that is a big deal. So when you get that offensive line settled in, I think that will really help him, especially with progressing as a passer. That's one of his big things that he has to work on. So I definitely think it was a great draft for the Steelers, getting positions that they need.
Yeah, and offensive line, not really people look at it, but it is super important 100%. Because if you don't have a good offensive line, then your quarterback's not going to produce. Therefore, your receivers are not going to get the ball, or your running back is not going to be able to get any running room. So having a great offensive line is always key in football.
Yeah.
Not just the NFL, but football in general.
Yep. 100%. And another team I wanted to quickly go over was the Carolina Panthers. I think they did a really good job supporting Bryce Young. This also goes back into the offseason, but they brought in two guards to help protect Bryce Young, keep him upright.
They also brought in wide receiver, what was his name? Xavier.
Deontay Johnson.
No. They also drafted a wide receiver in the 32.
Xavier Legette.
Yeah, Xavier Legette.
Traded up to get him for a fifth-year option. So I thought that was a really smart move. They got Jonathan Brooks, who's a running back, just because they do need more running backs on their team. And they also took the tight end out of Texas, Jatavion Sanders, to get in their tight end. So they're really building up this offense for Bryce Young. Hopefully he could take a leap up in this offense. Offensive coach as their head coach, and bringing in multiple weapons for him to shine.
Especially after a very disappointing 2-win season last year.
Yeah, that was
going off of tight ends, Georgia star tight end Brock Bowers, drafted by the Las Vegas Raiders. I didn't expect that, to be honest with you.
No, I did not either. I had a feeling he would fall a little bit just because it's not really a position of need that gets taken high in the draft. But I did not see the Raiders taking him.
I didn't either. I thought they would have tried to at least trade up for the last QB that was available. I mean, Bo Nix went to Denver the pick before, which is a little. A lot of people don't like the pick just because of how Bo Nix is as a player. But if he could succeed in the Sean Payton offense, then it'll be a pretty nice pick. But the Raiders do have a really nice receiving core.
For sure.
They got Devontae still there. Jacoby Myers is decent, and then you throw in Brock Bowers to pair with, what's his name, Michael Mayer.
Yep.
So I could see them running a lot of 2-2 sets for their offense, because Aiden O'Connell is still not the best QB, but they do have Gardner Minshew, who is a bit better. So maybe he'll be the starter, and who knows, maybe the Raiders will actually succeed a lot this year.
Yeah, they also recently signed Michael Gallup, so they have two capable wide receivers and obviously an elite talent at wide receiver with Tay. You got two tight ends now. Michael Mayer was a second-round pick last year, and you got Brock Bowers as a first-round pick. So these are players that they really want to shine in their offense. They really think they're going to do well things in that offense. It's really just the quarterback position for the Raiders specifically. So that time will tell.
Yep. Speaking of quarterbacks, it was a big draft for quarterbacks. The first 12 picks, half of them were quarterbacks.
Yep.
One of them was a very questionable pick. Atlanta taking Washington quarterback Michael Penix at number 8. Atlanta's organization has been criticized a lot in the past week because of this pick. Because they just signed Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $180 million contract. Now, on the bright side of this, it's a good pick because Cousins is 36. He's coming off an Achilles tear that cost him half of his season last year. So, maybe he's not healthy. Maybe he flops. And if any of those do happen, it's a good thing for Penix because then he gets his chance. The only thing is he is 24 years old. So if Kirk Cousins does play out his entire contract, then Penix will be starting at 28 years old, which is already old in the NFL. It may not be that old for quarterbacks, but 28 in general is considered old age in the NFL.
Yeah. Just going over this, I'll go over both the positives of the selection and the negatives. Let's talk about some positives. I think Michael Penix is he's a really good quarterback. He has a lot of athleticism, so if the pocket breaks down, he could get out of there. He has a really, really strong arm. People knock him because he's a left-handed quarterback. I don't understand it. He led the Washington team to almost winning the championship.
Yeah, he led Washington all the way to the national championship game, a crushing loss to Michigan. But, you got to credit Michigan. They were an amazing team. Jim Harbaugh was obviously the head coach. Now he's head coach of the LA Chargers. Yeah. And then, obviously, their QB, J.J. McCarthy, who we will go over in a second. He didn't do that much in the championship game, but it was more just Michigan's defense that was dominating the game. Because Washington could not get the ball moving in that game. But that is not a reason to look at Penix as a bad QB prospect. He's very good.
Yep.
But I just feel like there could have been another team to at least trade up to get him. Atlanta could have easily traded down.
I mean, I even look at the Raiders. I thought the Raiders could have went up to get him. And if you're Atlanta, you get another pick or two, and you get the top defensive player on the board, like a Quinyon Mitchell or a Dallas Turner, Laiatu Latu.
Speaking of Quinyon Mitchell, the Eagles got a steal. They got him, and then they also got Cooper DeJean out of Iowa. So they got two great corners. Although their young prospects from last year's draft and the draft before have been a bit except Jalen Carter, dude's a beast. But his defensive tackle mate, Jordan Davis, has been a bit up and down.
Yeah.
But that's just what happens with prospects. You're not guaranteed to be amazing in your rookie year. It's always the second year where you could take a leap, or even your third year. But Eagles had a great draft.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure.
I forgot to mention them in the winners, but they definitely were a winner.
Yeah. Also, going off, this is a very offensive-heavy first round. Mm-hmm. A record 23 offensive players were taken in the first round out of 32 picks.
Yeah, and not to mention 14 straight offensive players selected. That
14
was the first
straight
time
offensive
in NFL
players.
history.
Never been done before. It's happened in this draft. Just shows how crazy offense is nowadays. But maybe it's just more of like teams having a lot of offensive struggles that need to be filled.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think also it just really depends on the draft talent. This year it was a very offensive-heavy draft class. Other years it is
crazy
defensive.
talent.
Yeah, so
crazy talent this year. Depending
on the talent and the skill positions, it really changes how teams draft.
For sure. As we predicted, Drake May taken by the Patriots, number 3. Jaden Daniels, I feel like that was a bit questionable. I didn't expect him to get taken by Washington at number 2. I thought maybe Washington could have traded down, or they would have taken maybe Drake May themselves. But, Jaden Daniels, reigning Heisman Trophy winner, bringing some new life to Washington, hopefully, because Washington has been looking for some hope since a long time. But, we'll just see how everything goes. Real quick, before we move on to the NBA, let's do a quick prediction on offensive rookie of the year. Who do you got as like your top 3? Like, who do you think will be the top 3?
Well, I definitely got to put Caleb in there. I think he's going into a extremely talented offense. I think that defense is really stepped up in the second half of the year.
Oh, for sure.
So Caleb has 2 basically number 1 options in Keenan Allen and DJ Moore.
And then you throw in Rome Odunze as well.
Yeah, we're talking about Rome Odunze as well as your third option.
As your third option. Like that's a crazy wide receiver core right there.
So I would say Caleb is definitely in that rookie of the year. Another person I would put would be Malik Neighbors.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He got taken by the Giants at number 6.
Yeah, while people are going to say that he doesn't have a quarterback to throw it to him and what's the talent around him, I think that gives more of a reason why he's going to get more targets.
Exactly, yeah.
He's going to get more chances and more opportunities. And he really reminds me of a similar receiver from LSU that went to the Giants about 10 years ago named Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah.
They have a similar play style, similar builds, just great players overall. So that's the name I would say to watch out for. And then, why don't you give 2 names?
I'm gonna throw in Drake May.
Okay.
I feel like Drake May, even though there's not that much with New England that they have around him, I definitely do feel like he will try to make use of what he's got and give some hope to Patriots fans. After 2 decades of having Tom Brady as their quarterback, it's a new era, and I feel like he's gonna go off in his first year. Another one that I am very, very confident about is probably Xavier Worthy from the Chiefs. Why? Because this dude is a speed demon. Dude has in the combine this couple months ago, he ran the fastest 40 in history of the Combine. A record 4.21. And you're pairing him with Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the NFL, possibly going to be the greatest quarterback ever once he retires. And Patrick Mahomes has had a lot of success with a speedy wide receiver. Obviously, in 2019, the Chiefs wide receiver core was deemed the Legion of Zoom, going off the Legion of Boom defense for the Seahawks back then. And, Patrick Mahomes, he had Tyreek Hill as his wide receiver for a couple of years. And then ever since they traded him, they've won 2 Super Bowls. So he didn't need Tyreek for these 2 Super Bowls, obviously. And I feel like throwing Xavier Worthy in there, he's going to get a lot of targets, mainly because Rashee Rice is possibly going to be suspended for at least half the season because of what happened. Yeah. We won't go over that, just for various reasons. But it seems that Rashee Rice is going to be having a big punishment from the NFL and the Kansas City Chiefs. So, and obviously Travis Kelce, he is getting old, but he doesn't seem to be slowing down. He slowed down a little bit last year because of, he did have an injury to start the year, but he still did pretty good. But I definitely see Xavier Worthy being up there in Offensive Rookie of the Year voting.
Yeah, those are 2 really good names. You can't count out anyone on the Chiefs just because they're going to get so many opportunities with Patrick Mahomes.
You can never count them out at all.
It's insane. And with that speed, too, I mean, if him and Patrick Mahomes are on the same kind of
same groove
playing area, it could be it's dangerous for the rest of the league.
This could be the second coming of Tyreek and Patrick.
Yeah. And they obviously wanted him. They traded up.
They traded up with Buffalo, who needed a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I don't know what Buffalo was doing there. They ended up getting Keon Coleman in the second round. But I don't know why you would trade down
with Kansas City.
Kansas City, your biggest rival. Yeah. And you need a wide receiver, too. Xavier Worthy would have been a great pick for Buffalo.
Yeah,
Josh Allen has a hell of an arm.
Yeah.
Pair that up with the fastest combine player ever, there's some big touchdowns that could have happened there.
But I got one more name, and just to give context, there was 7 receivers drafted in this first round alone. That's a very stacked receiver class that we're coming into. The one name I'm going to give you, Marvin Harrison Jr. I think this is a pretty easy pick as well for offensive rookie of the year. He's going into a situation with Kyler Murray. He's going to be the number 1 target for the Cardinals, and they're continuing to build as an offense. But just having a dynamic quarterback like Kyler Murray, he's going to get a lot of targets. He's coming in the most pro-ready of any receiver in this draft class. So I think the way he plays is going to get him a lot of targets, going to give him a lot of opportunities, and I think that's going to be a way for him to get up in the Rookie of the Year conversation.
And when you're the son of a Hall of Fame wide receiver whose quarterback was Peyton Manning, then you got some big shoes to fill. Yeah. But he's got the talent to do that.
Yeah, he's going to be a star.
And I don't know why he didn't cross my mind, but he's definitely going to be up there as well.
I had to bring him up. You just skip right over him.
All right. Now we are moving on to a completely new topic. The NBA. There's a lot that has happened in the NBA. There's way too much that has happened. Do you want to start off, Anthony?
Yeah. So just to go over a couple things. The Wolves swept the Suns. Get the brooms out. They were swept. That big three did not work this year. So my question to you is, what's next for the Suns? We do know that besides this year, they don't have another pick till 2030.
Not just a first-round pick. They don't have a single draft pick in general until 2030, after this year. And I saw some comments of Matt Ishiba, the Suns owner, saying, we're in a great situation. I don't see a good situation whatsoever. You don't have a lot of depth. You don't have any draft picks for the next 6 years. And on top of that, your best player, Kevin Durant, he's 35, 36, bound for retirement soon. Bradley Beal's coming off of a year where he was not really good. He was injured a lot, so I would give him that. But he had a terrible game 4. My goodness.
It was rough.
He had only 9 points and he fouled out of the game.
Yep.
In a closeout game, it was not good. I even saw some rumors that the New York Knicks might try to get Devin Booker in the offseason, which I don't think is going to happen. I think D-Book's going to stay with Phoenix because, he was there at the Downs. He was there for the ups, and they're kind of in the middle now. But I don't see how Matt Ishiba thinks the team is in a good situation.
Yeah, it's like, where do you go from here? Because you're already paying max money to Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal.
Paying all your money to 3 players.
You can't get anyone else besides minimum or the league minimum for contract-wise.
And you have no picks to add young players to your roster.
So how do you trade? You have no one to trade. I mean, you could trade a Grayson Allen. Maybe he's not going to get you much in return. He's just a shooter. But you need shooters on this team around them.
And he finished the year with the best 3-point percentage of any player in the league.
Yeah.
So he's a knockdown shooter.
And the fit is terrible between Bradley Beal, Booker, and Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant and Booker have their fit is good.
Their fit is good.
But
Bradley
they don't
Beal's
have a true point guard. So when you have Bradley Beal, Booker, and Kevin Durant in the game at once, who's playing the 1? Who's playing the 2? Who's playing the 3? It's if you have Booker and Beal at the 2 and 3, your lineup's small. If you have Booker at the 1 and Beal at the 2, there's no true point guard to really get everyone going. So it's a difficult fit between them all. Beal and Durant they're not going to get any younger. Booker's your piece that you have for the future, but that's really it.
And you got nothing else. You got a lot of 1 year, 2 year contract players on your bench. You know, obviously Bol is a nice piece, but he doesn't even play, so there's that. Eric Gordon, he's a good 3-point shooter, but that's about it. Same thing with Grayson Allen. I mean, Grayson Allen does have a nice drive to the basket, but overall, you also really don't have any defense at all between this entire team. You don't have any defense. So I don't know what's to come for Phoenix. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of talks on what they're going to do, but we'll just have to wait and see. I feel like something is going to come up.
Yeah, and I actually have a question for you. Would you trade, in this situation, would you trade Booker or Durant? Because I don't think Beal has a lot of value. Would you trade one of them if you were in the shoes of the Suns general manager?
I would trade Kevin Durant, for sure.
You're not getting back what you got in return.
I get that. But at the end of the day, age matters. Devin Booker is at least, 10 years younger than Kevin Durant? Something like that. I know Devin Booker is not 30 years old. Because he was drafted in 2015. So,
27.
Yeah, he's 27 years old. KD is like 35, 36 years old. So therefore, if you trade Devin Booker, you're already losing at least 10 years of your franchise right there. Devin Booker could stay with this team for 10 years. Kevin Durant, he's probably not going to play past 40.
Yeah,
so, yes, he is amazing. He will stay amazing until he retires. But I'd rather have D-Book for at least 10 years than have KD for less than 4 years. So I would trade Kevin Durant. And even if I don't get that much, at least I'm getting something. At least I'm getting draft picks. At least I'm probably getting a player or two. Because Kevin Durant, obviously, he has value. He's still one of the best players in the NBA. And when you have nothing, anything works.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see how far this team can go with this quote-unquote super team that really does not have anything besides Kevin Durant and Booker. So I think it might be best to trade him as well. And I feel like a really good destination would be back to OKC. Maybe get a Lou Dort.
I did see a trade proposal. It was like obviously it's not an actual trade, but let's say someone came up with this online. Trade Kevin Durant for Josh Giddey, another Thunder player, like 3 first-rounders.
Yeah, get some picks back. You need them. You don't have your own picks.
And plus, I feel like that would be a good pick for OKC, because then you got one of your best players in franchise history back. You have a crap ton of picks to give. You're not losing really anything. No. And then Phoenix will gain a true point guard in Josh Giddey.
Yep.
Because, he's a tall, lengthy playmaking point guard.
Yep.
Which is what Phoenix really needs. So honestly, I feel like that would be a
Not only that, I mean, you could probably get Cason Wallace, who was the first-round pick from the Thunder last year, who's a really good point guard as well. Lou Dort is an amazing defender, just to match the salaries. And you're talking at least 3 or 4 first-round picks, because I still think Kevin Durant is worth that much. And if you're looking at OKC, why wouldn't you pull the trigger? You have Shea, you have tons of picks, and you have the roster around Shea and Kevin Durant in that case to make multiple finals runs.
Exactly. And, like, if Shea or KD is getting double teamed, you got the other guy to get the ball to. And Shea in his own right is an amazing shot maker. Shot over 50% from the field this year. Crazy efficiency. His pull-up jumper mid-range is deadly. It's honestly like a Kevin Durant. And I think he might win MVP this year, but I still got Luka Doncic winning MVP just because he is a crazy. Yeah. Going on, obviously the Minnesota Timberwolves, they got the sweep, winning their first playoff series since 2004. They are matching up against the defending champs, the Denver Nuggets, which could possibly be the best series of the whole playoffs.
I'm excited.
I'm very excited too. Game 1 is on Saturday, May 4th. If you have a TV around you, make sure to turn that baby on because we got a crazy series going on. Yep. We got Anthony Edwards versus Jamal Murray. Then you got a Defensive Player of the Year candidate versus a 2-time MVP. And then there's Karl Towns and Jaden McDaniels versus Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon.
Yep, it's gonna be a great series. Honestly, I could see this easily going into 7.
Yeah, I can see this going 6 or 7. Obviously, I have Minnesota taking the series just because I feel like Denver really struggled in that series against LA. There was a graphic where the Lakers led for like 140 minutes throughout the series, and the Nuggets only led like 30 minutes total. And obviously, the Nuggets took the series in 5 games. Granted, Jamal Murray hit 2 big game winners in this series, in games 2 and 5. And, like, playoff Murray is real. Playoff Jamal Murray is
definitely
real, ladies and gentlemen. That is real. Going off of what we were talking about with the Thunder earlier, they complete the sweep against the New Orleans Pelicans. It was expected.
No Zion.
Yeah, no Zion. But I feel like if Zion was playing, then this could have been a 6-game series maybe.
Yeah, I think Zion definitely would have helped the Pelicans' chance. But did they really have a chance? I don't think so.
They did not, for sure. They did not. Also, Brandon Ingram was terrible in this series.
He was coming off an injury, though.
He was coming off an injury, but my goodness, he was not good this series.
Yeah, and that's why I'm going to ask you, do you think the Pelicans should trade Brandon Ingram?
That's a great question. Because, yeah, he played bad in the series, but overall, he is still a good player. He had a nice regular season. You could get some value out of him. And yeah, I feel like they should. Just because, like, Zion, he's great in his own right. And then, who I do think they should trade is CJ McCollum.
Okay.
Because, yes, he was great in this series, but he's getting up there in age. He's not going to be your true number 1 guard. So I feel like they definitely should try to get something out of him before they can get nothing out of him. So maybe add them both in the same trade, Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum. Try to trade them for some pieces. Because, Zion, this is like his first like really full healthy season. And obviously it was cut short because of the hamstring injury in the play-in against the Lakers. But you also want to have a great team around. Like, obviously there's some nice players. Trey Murphy, what's that? Herb Jones.
Yep.
And Jonas Valanciunas. Jonas Valanciunas is a hell of a rebounder. Bro was a rebounding demon in this series. Even though they lost all 4 games, so, the stat sheet shows itself.
Yeah.
But New Orleans definitely got to make some moves.
Yeah, I think they should shake up the roster a little bit. It's time to go compete. I think Zion's coming into this prime form where he's such a physical player. You don't know how many years you have with Zion. Like, true Zion dominating. So, if you can upgrade from Brandon Ingram, take it. Take the chance. You have picks. Brandon Ingram's a really good player. So, he's going to fetch you something. If you could put in Ingram, a couple picks, maybe one of their younger players like a Jordan Hawkins or a Dyson Daniels, although you probably want to keep them just because McCollum is getting older. You definitely have some pieces to make a move, get a better scorer, maybe a point guard like you were talking about, or even I know you were talking high on Jonas Valanciunas. Get a dominant center. Imagine Zion with a dominant center.
To at least take the pressure off of him.
Yeah.
In the inside game, because obviously, you know, Zion is a demon inside. Now, if you add a center that is a demon inside like him, then you're down for success. Yeah. You're bound for success. Moving on to a different series, I said that Cleveland would sweep Orlando after the first two games. That was not... It's looking very bad.
Yeah, it's tied up 2-2. I think this is going to go down to 6 or 7. I still have the Cavs taking it just because they are the more...
Cleveland is actually up 3 games to 2.
Oh, they're up 3 games to 2.
Yeah.
My apologies. But yeah, I still have Cleveland taking the series. It can go to game 7.
It can.
I don't know if it will or not. We'll see.
That was a bad prediction. Clearly, I said Cleveland would easily sweep them, and Orlando tied up the series. Granted, Cleveland had a terrible second half in Game 4, scoring only 29 points as a team in the second half, scoring only 10 in the third quarter, while Orlando took advantage of that scoring drought. Franz Wagner in Game 4 had finished the game with 34 points and 13 boards. And then a lot of other guys contributed. Jonathan Isaac, Markelle Fultz, Wendell Carter Jr., Jalen Suggs. All those guys put up at least 10 points. And even after a down game from Paolo Banchero, he only finished with 9 points in 29 minutes. But it helps when one of your players that is alongside Paolo is going off so that he doesn't have to take much of the load of the offense. But yeah, crazy comeback from Orlando in this series. Obviously, Cleveland won Game 5 after Paolo had a very good bounce back game. He had 39 points in Game 5 with 8 boards. Wendell Carter Jr. had 7 points and 11 boards. And then Jalen Suggs and Franz Wagner each tacked on 13 and 14 respectively. But the Cavs as a team had a lot of scoring. Even Marcus Morris, of all people, dropped a quick 12 points in Game 5. And then obviously you got 28 from Donovan Mitchell, 23 from Darius Garland, and then you got Evan Mobley at 14 points, 13 boards. He's a very lengthy guy, but I feel like if he just put on some more size, he could be super dominant. Because if you look at him, he's very Kevin Durant-like size.
Yeah, I don't see him having the Kevin Durant impact, but he definitely has that the size of a Kevin Durant. He's a dominant player inside, but he's really known for his defense.
Yeah,
that's
he
his game.
like I mentioned just a second ago, he's got the length. He's got crazy length, so he can easily get a lot of shot blocking, and his presence was really felt, especially since Jared Allen was out for Game 5, and obviously he's their star center. Him and Mobley together create a crazy front court duo, and Evan Mobley stepped up and in a big game too. They only won by 1 point. Granted, they were up 4, but Orlando hit a 3 at the buzzer to make it 1. So the score doesn't look like what it actually is, but
yeah.
But we're set up for a pretty good Game 6.
Yeah. So we will see. That game is, I believe, today, right?
I think it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. Okay.
Tomorrow, Friday, May 3rd. Because I know there's 2 games today, which we will actually go over those series in a moment.
Yep. Real quick, before we go over those 2 series, I wanted to quickly mention the Celtics winning the series against the Heat in 5. I thought it was...
That was very expected. But the Game 2 win by Miami and Boston, that was not expected.
No. And then, you know what else wasn't expected? The way Derek White has been playing recently.
Derek White has been a demon.
He has been the top scorer, or not the top scorer, but one of the top scorers on this team. Like, let's talk about Game 5 where Boston completely shut down Miami. This was a blowout.
Yeah. Miami only hit 3 threes as a team in the whole game. 3 of 29 from the field.
Yeah, it was...
Or from 3, sorry.
It was over from the start. There was like a quick glimpse of hope for Miami when they won Game 2. Where it's like, okay, maybe they could take it to 6 games. But without Jimmy Butler, there was no chance they were winning this. But I just wanted to give a shout out to Derek White. He had 25 and 5 rebounds. Last game, he's been showing out the last couple games. I believe he had another 20-point game or more the game before as well.
I think he had 38 points in game 4. Which was crazy. So, I was talking with some friends. We're like, dude, Derek White is going off. Yeah. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, they got 38 points. I'm like, what?
And if you're beating teams by over 20 with Jason Tatum only scoring 16 points, that's insane on just by itself. But you also had a great game by Jaylen Brown. And Sam Hauser gave you 17 points off the bench.
And Kristaps Porzingis was out for this game, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Or was it game 4?
No, he was out.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, great series by Boston. Kind of expected. We'll see what happens next round, who they face off against. And
tough series for Miami, but it was expected that they would go out like this without Jimmy Butler. Could have been 6 with Jimmy, but sadly, injuries happen, and we all hate them. Yep. We all hate them. But we have 2 game 6s for today. Obviously, today is Thursday, May 2nd. We have New York and Philly, the Knicks and the Sixers. I was watching game 5, and my God, Tyrese Maxey is a demon. He is an absolute demon.
He was going crazy.
He finished with 40. I'm pretty sure 44 points. Jalen Brunson himself, pretty sure, finished with 40 points. And New York had this game in the bag, though. They led by 6 with 30 seconds left to play, and Tyrese Maxey just took over. He hit a 3, got fouled, 4-point play, and then the Sixers fouled Josh Hart near the end, and he missed a crucial free throw, which then led to a deep logo 3 by Tyrese Maxey to tie the game. Which I was watching it at home, and I'm like, my God, he is amazing. Because I have a friend who's a Sixers fan as well, and I texted him like, dude, Tyrese Maxey is him. And then he was like, he was just so excited that this happened. And yeah, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, Tyrese Maxey went crazy that game, and he really showed how much of a dominant player he can be. Most people would expect, Embiid to be taking the load versus the Knicks, but Tyrese Maxey really stepped up in his role. He also had 9 assists, so he was a great distributor of the ball. And by the time they got to overtime, I felt like this was the Sixers game. They really, by the time they got there, they had all the momentum. Tyrese Maxey was going crazy. Embiid still had 16 rebounds and 10 assists, so he did have a triple-double.
He had a triple-double, which is a bit overshadowed because nobody really looks at that. And people forget that he had a triple-double in this game.
But we have to talk about Jalen Brunson as well. I know they did lose, but 40 points by Brunson.
40 points. And the Knicks even had a 5-point lead in overtime, but ultimately after that 5-point lead, they didn't really score much after that. But the Knicks in general, the team around Jalen Brunson didn't really help him a lot. Obviously, Josh Hart, he missed a crucial free throw, and Dante DiVincenzo, he didn't have a big game, and I see the Knicks rebounding in Game 6 in Philly, because if you let Philly win this, then you got a lot of pressure on you, especially since you were up 3-1.
Yeah.
So
you have to end it now.
You have to play your best, and you got to be smart. Going on, last playoff series we're going over, second to last playoff series we're going over, the Bucks and the Pacers. Now, I said the Pacers were going to win this series, and It's looking very likely.
It's getting close though.
They went up 3-1. Milwaukee won Game 5 without Dame or Giannis, but going back to Indy, I feel like this is going to be it for the Bucks in this series, which obviously it sucks. Giannis and Dame were both injured, but like I said earlier, injuries happen.
That's the way it goes sometimes.
It's the way it goes. I've seen a lot of teams in the past play shorthanded without their superstars because of injury, but you're a basketball team, you got to go with what you got, and as a player who probably doesn't play a lot, you got to step up in their place,
Yeah. I'm not going to count out the Bucks. I think that Chris Middleton, with the absence of Dame and Giannis, has been playing amazing. 29 points last game, which they did win without Dame and Giannis. Bobby Portis as well, 29 and 10 rebounds.
Patrick Beverly even came out of nowhere and dropped 12
assists.
Or what was it?
13 points and 12 assists.
13 points, 12 assists. He even hit the "you're too small" on some players too.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. But Pat Bev has always been that guy who's like a talker. And if you need him for some moments, he will show up. Like obviously in this game, and then even when he was with Minnesota 2 years ago, he had some big moments in that series against Memphis. And then another good example is when he was with the LA Clippers against Utah in 2021. The game in Game 6 to go on to the Western Conference Finals, he hit some big shots, and if he gets called up, he'll do his job. He'll do his job perfectly. Obviously he's a defense first guy, but 12 assists is a bit questionable. I don't know how he was like. I've never seen him get this many assists in a game.
They just really played well as a team. One thing though, if the Pacers do want to win, they need a better performance out of Tyrese Haliburton and Pascal Siakam. Okay. 12 points for Siakam on 5 of 12 shooting, and only 16 points for Tyrese Haliburton and 6 assists. That's just, you're not going to win like that.
For a guy who has led the league in assists this year, you expect more.
Yep.
But obviously, yeah, everybody has a down game. But in the playoffs, you got to be your best. You can't have down games because your season is on the line every single game. Now,
last series.
Last one. Dallas, the LA Clippers. Dallas had nearly completed a 31-point comeback in Game 4.
Yeah.
Granted, Paul George went crazy in the first half of Game 4.
Yeah.
He had 26 points. He finished with 33 the rest of the game, but James Harden also stepped up. Both him and Paul George each finished 33 points in Game 4. But the Clippers almost made a Clippers move and almost blew a 31-point lead in that game.
Yeah. I mean, they ended up winning the game. That's all that matters. But how they played the next game, it was rough.
Game 5 last night was very rough. And on your home floor, possibly having momentum back on your side after a big win, it was not good.
Yeah.
It was not good.
I just want to read these stats off. Paul George, 4 for 13 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3, 15 points, 11 rebounds. I mean, he had a lot of rebounds, but 15 points out of Paul George when there's no Kawhi Leonard as the number one option is not good enough. And let's go over James Harden. 2 of 12 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3, 7 points, 7 assists.
Yeah.
That's not going to cut it.
And then on top of that, Kyrie Irving, he was in foul trouble. He had 4 fouls during the third quarter, so he sat for quite a while.
Yeah.
But Luka Doncic is amazing. I've said this too many times, and I'll say it again. He's amazing. And that's why I think he will win the NBA's MVP this year. He came out and showed that even with the flu, with the flu and a knee injury, he came out and dropped, how many points did he drop?
35 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds.
Crazy.
And we're talking about, they're throwing the kitchen sink at Luka because Kyrie was in foul trouble the whole game, was out for some time because of the foul trouble. So Luka was doing Luka things. And no one on the Clippers team was matching Luka at all. So
they threw Nick Batum on him. It didn't matter.
yeah,
Nick Batum is good on defense, but he's pretty old now. So
Batum is not guarding Luka.
Yeah.
But there's not many people in the league that can.
yeah. Oh wait. I might be thinking of someone else. Nick Batum's on the Sixers.
Oh yeah, you're right.
PJ Tucker.
Yeah,
Sorry,
PJ
that's
Tucker.
who it was. PJ Tucker is good on defense, but he's even older than Nick Batum. So,
They're not guarding Luka.
exactly. Derek Lively had a nice game too.
Yeah.
The rookie, the rookie center or forward.
12 points, 7 rebounds, 100% from the field in 24 minutes.
Didn't miss a shot. He caught some nice lobs too.
Yeah,
Those are some nice lobs he caught.
he's definitely taking that spot from Daniel Gafford.
Yeah, for sure. PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, they had an game. I didn't really see a lot of impact from them in Game 5. But, I mean, it didn't matter, to be honest. Dallas won by 30 in LA on their home floor. Going back to Dallas to possibly close out the series.
What do you think? And you think they take it?
I think they do, to be honest. Like, Kyrie's not going to have that bad of a game again. And yet, I do think Paul George and James Harden will rebound. But when you got your home crowd on your side with one win to go, I think Dallas takes it.
Yeah. And there's no Kawhi at the end of the day. Kawhi, even though in some of the games that Kawhi played, they did not win. Kawhi is a big factor for this team. And without him, you're putting a lot on Paul George and James Harden. And they've both shown that they kind of choke in playoff situations.
Yeah, for sure. It would set up a very nice playoff series, though. OKC, Dallas.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun playoff series if that does happen.
Yeah.
Although I'm probably taking the Thunder.
All right, we are running out of time here, so one last question for you. What is your favorite series so far out of every playoff series?
That's a tough question. I think I'm gonna go the Sixers versus the Knicks. I like that series so far. I think
it's a pretty good series.
It's really shown how well Maxey is as a scorer. That he's really a number 2, number 1.
Yeah,
he is a great player. Him and Brunson have been going back and forth, and this series has been. Embiid hasn't been healthy. You know.
He's still recovering from that knee injury, and he even tweaked it a little bit in the play-in game against it was against Miami, I'm pretty sure, or was it? No, it might have been game 1 of this series against New York, but he did tweak his knee during one of these games in the playoffs. Obviously, he's still playing. He came back right away after that, but Embiid is not fully healthy, and Tyrese Maxey has stepped up to the plate too.
Yeah, and to even bring it to 6, and then also Brunson's just been going crazy. Josh Hart has been really, really solid. He's been the best rebounder on the Knicks, I would say, by far, honestly.
He's definitely the best rebounding guard in the league.
Yeah.
For sure.
And, I mean, the last couple games, 18 points, 20 points, 21 points. Like, he's really stepping up as a secondary scorer.
There's even a game where he had 16, 17 rebounds, which, for a guard, he's only like insane. He's only like 6'5".
Yeah.
And 16, 17 rebounds for a guard at 6'5" is just crazy. But Josh Hart has always been
6'4".
Yeah, 6'4". Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
But Josh Hart has always been a great rebounder as a player. Like, not even just this year, but in recent years as well, he's been a pretty good rebounder. So, but still, reaching nearly 20 boards is like Russell Westbrook numbers.
Yeah. What about you? Favorite series?
Favorite series?
Could be any series. Could be the Lakers versus.
Yeah, I know. My favorite series, probably LA and Dallas.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's been good.
It's definitely a really good series. You know, LA took game 1, and then Dallas took the next 2. They could have taken the next 3 if they just completed that comeback in game 4, but Paul George showed out to make sure that it didn't happen, although he didn't show out in game 5. But that's
left
definitely
it all in game 4.
Yeah, he left it all in game 4. But that's going to be it, guys. Hope you guys enjoy this. Remember, this is a Laveau's production, so remember to follow Laveau's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and subscribe to the YouTube channel where these podcasts will be posted, because it will help us a lot. We enjoy your support, and we would love your support. But I am Alex signing off.
Anthony, I'm out of here.
See you guys. Peace.
Peace.